Hello and welcome to the Pro Dice Tour, brought to you by the Dice Sports Network. As we move into the second half of the competition, it's all about who will fall and who will remain standing at the end. Nowhere is that more true than in Event 6, where our teams will be going 10-pin bowling. Each of our teams will be rolling 2 frames under traditional bowling rules and trying to get the highest score possible. It's all going to come down to accuracy, and our teams have clearly put some thought into who will be their representatives. There you see the lineups. The Halloween is the only team to send out their captain today. We're going to see pins flying in all directions here in a moment. The Brown Bears are our current competition leaders, but there are plenty of teams still in the hunt, including the High Rollers, who earned their first medal of the competition last week. And it looks like our officials are in position and we're ready to go. The High Rollers, last week's champions, will be represented by Lady Luck today, and here comes the first roll. Lady Luck comes down and makes a solid connection. Misses the head pin, but has managed to take down 6 pins. Bit of a split at the back, but it's not impossible. Here comes a second roll and manages to get 3. You'll see in the replay here, Lady Luck only knocks down 2, but manages to get an extra one off the rebound. Only the leftmost pin remains standing, and the High Rollers start off with 9. Up next, it is Blossom for the Sweethearts. The Sweethearts picked up a bronze medal last week. Can they podium again today? Blossom comes down, and that's a great strike. Not quite an actual strike, but the majority of the pins have gone down here. A clean connection with the head pin. And Blossom leaves the Sweethearts with a great opportunity here to hit a spare. Some precision required here. And that is not at all colliding with an official there at the end. You'll see here Blossom not too close to the target, but does manage to dislodge the official from his seat. Our medical team checking that out, but athletes not coming down with the same force they have in some of the other events. So it looks like our official will be okay, and the Sweethearts will match the High Rollers with a score of 9. Judges back in place now for the next team, and it is the Outer Spaces, represented by Marvin today. The Outer Spaces still looking for their first big break of the Pro Dice Tour so far. Marvin comes down, and that's a clean connection. 7 pins have been taken out, and the Outer Spaces will be left with a pocket of 3 in the upper left corner. If Marvin can stay on target, there's a good chance for a spare here. Manages to clip the one to the right. Oh, a very close call there. A narrow miss for the Outer Spaces there, but they will still go into the second frame with a score of 8. We'll have to wait for the other teams to see how competitive that will be. Next up, it is Team Fantastic, unsurprisingly sending out Jumbo today. They're looking to do as much damage as possible. Jumbo comes down at good pace, misses the head pin, but does manage to send 5 or so pins flying. And it looks like a judge has been dislodged from their chair once again. Our medical team called into action for the second time today, but it looks like it will only be a minor delay. No direct contact between Jumbo and the official. It was a pin that knocked him off his chair. We're hearing word that our officials will reposition themselves slightly in the upcoming rolls to stay out of harm's way. So Jumbo facing down 5 pins for the second roll, but there is some potential for a domino effect if he's able to connect with the head pin. Jumbo comes down and smashes straight through. The first spare of the day, and what a massive hit. A clean connection with the head pin at just the right angle, and that sends the rest of the pins flying. So Team Fantastic with the first closed frame of the day here, and they'll have the opportunity to add to that later on. Wanda now for the Halloweeners, the only team choosing to send out their captain today. Wanda comes down, and that's another solid connection. Pins lying everywhere. Let's see how many have been knocked down. Only 2 remain standing, but Wanda will have to angle this next roll correctly to pick up the spare. Here we go with the second roll, and that is a big miss. Not really coming close to the targets. Aiming a little too far to the left and almost gets one on the rebound, but comes to a stop slightly short. So the Halloweeners will have to be content with 8 for their first frame. The Night Rangers sending Nocti today. They were our champions in Event 1, which was another accuracy event. Let's see what they can get done. Nocti comes through and only manages to take down 2. Comes down at good pace, but veers off too far to the right, and the Night Rangers will need to make up for it here. Oh dear, this time it's a complete miss. Narrowly whistling past those pins on the right, you can see them shaking, but they do remain standing. And the Night Rangers only muster 2 in their first frame. Bullseye is the straight shooters representative today, an accuracy event specialist, so the straight shooters come in today as one of the favorites. And Bullseye here comes down at great pace, but narrowly misses the head pin. Appears to catch an awkward bounce here at the bottom of the ramp and only manages to take down 3. The straight shooters were hoping for a better effort than that. Can Bullseye bring it back? Down he comes, and that's a solid effort. does connect with the head pin this time, and a little unlucky to have 3 of the pins still standing. You can see them wobbling here once again, but they don't fall down. And the straight shooters are going to finish the first frame with a score of 7. Yogi now at the top of the ramp for the Brown Bears. Currently 10 points clear at the top of the table. Off we go, and oh dear. Yogi unable to keep it accurate, and he's only managed to knock down 1 here. Pretty much a full set of pins still to aim at here in the second roll. And that's a much better effort, smashing straight through the middle, almost a little too straight. Yogi has left those pins on the side still standing. And a good recovery after the first roll, but the Brown Bears still only end up with 6. Many expected to see Pounce fielded today for Team Perfection, but they have decided to go with Meow. Let's see if she can make herself heard. Meow comes down, and it's a clean connection, but not a very accurate one. Meow has ended up outside the arena, taking down 3 pins with a delicate glance, but Team Perfection will want more. Better accuracy this time, but Meow has gone straight through the middle, unable to generate any spin to knock down the neighboring pins. And that's only going to be a score of 5 for Team Perfection. The D20s represented by Questa today, still looking for their first medal in the Pro Dice Tour. And that's not a great start. We've already seen several teams aim too far to the right today, but Questa has gone off to the left, managing to take down 2. What can the D20s add to that score? Questa comes down, and that's an aerial shot. Looks as though he bounced off the bottom of the ramp and just glances that pin on the left. A little lucky to knock down 3 here, even though that's not going to be a great score. That leaves the D20s currently tied with Team Perfection. The Psychedelics narrowly missed out on a medal last week, and they will be represented by Mary Jane today. And once again, not the best accuracy demonstrated here from the Psychedelics. Off to the right side this time, Mary Jane manages to take down 3. Our final few teams struggling to hit the headpin here, and that is being reflected in their scores. Here's the second roll, and Mary Jane has overcorrected a little, this time a little too far to the left, and unlucky not to pick up any deflections. But the Psychedelics will also have to be content with a first frame score of 5. Shade from the Grim Reapers will close out the first frame today. Into the tower and down to the right. Those 3 pins in the upper right corner have taken a beating today, and Shade manages to pick up 2 more on the rebound. May have preferred to have the head pin remain standing, as it's going to be difficult to clean up these remaining pins. And a solid connection there, manages to take down 2 of them. May have had more success if he'd gone slightly to the left, but a score of 7 here will put the Grim Reapers in the middle of the pack as we move into the second frame. There is the official score. And that means at the halfway point, Team Fantastic with a big lead. The Outer Spaces currently sitting in 4th and in a position to potentially challenge for their first ever medal of the Pro Dice Tour today. And the Night Rangers with a lot of work to do in the second frame. So Lady Luck back at the top of the ramp. High Rollers currently tied for 2nd, and they would love to add another medal to their collection. Lady Luck comes down in a little bit of a weak shot, unable to control the direction, and misses the head pin and manages to take down 4. But with the head pin still standing, there is potential here. Second roll now, and that's a very good effort. Lady Luck blasts through the head pin and manages to take down 5. The pin in the top left corner does remain standing, but the High Rollers will finish here with 18, the maximum possible score without a closed frame. And of course, we've only seen one of those today so far. Blossom now steps up to the lane. The Sweethearts tied with the High Rollers after the first frame. Off we go, and that's a decent effort. It looks as though Blossom got a couple on the rebound here after missing the head pin. And there are still 5 pins standing, but there's potential here for the Sweethearts. Blossom comes down again and straight through the middle, sending 3 pins flying, but not quite the domino effect she was looking for. And the Sweethearts move into provisional second place with a score of 17. The Outer Spaces now currently sitting on 8. A good frame from Marvin here could put them in medal contention. Down the ramp, and that's a well-directed roll, but not quite enough power. In the replay here, we can see Marvin jumped a bit too high and almost went completely over the head pin, only managing to connect with 3 pins. Some of the teams today have struggled with accuracy, but of course the quality of the connection with the pins also matters, and a lot of work to be done here in the second roll. Marvin comes down again and cleans out one side. A perfect connection with those 3 pins on the left. With the head pin missing, that might have been about as good as the Outer Spaces could hope for. So they will finish on 14. Jumbo now for Team Fantastic. the only team to finish with a closed frame so far, and any pins knocked down on this first roll will be added to the first frame. Jumbo is off and misses the head pin this time, but he's managed to knock down 5, so that's already enough to put Team Fantastic in first place, and potential to add to that lead if Jumbo can get some solid rebounds. Team Fantastic will be hoping to connect with a head pin and get a domino effect in all directions. The second roll, and Jumbo has gone off to the left here, only managing to take down 1, just couldn't maintain that accuracy for the final roll. But that will take Team Fantastic to 21 and provisional first place. The other teams are going to need a spare or better to catch up to Team Fantastic, and the Halloweeners will have the first crack. Wanda here veers a little to the right, but she's managed to completely clear out one side. So the Halloweeners do have a chance at a spare. And oh, that's a very good attempt from Wanda. A perfect connection with the head pin sends them flying in all directions, but the one on the left side does remain standing. So the Halloweeners join the Sweethearts in provisional third place. Nocti now at the top of the ramp, a lot of work to be done here for the Night Rangers. Anything less than a closed frame is not going to do it here. Nocti comes down and that's a pretty good start. A powerful shot that obliterates 8 of the pins. And that gives the Night Rangers a real chance to pick up a spare. But the next roll will have to be targeted perfectly. Nocti rolls straight through and does pick up 1. Nocti demonstrating great speed here again, even getting tangled up with that security guard there at the end. But owing to that first frame, the Night Rangers are still going to end up well off the pace here. After 6 teams, we can confirm that the straight shooters will need a spare or better here to podium. Can Bullseye get it done? Well, that's certainly a solid first effort. Bullseye making a statement here, taking down 8 pins, despite aiming a little too far to the right. And with only 2 pins remaining, this is a great opportunity for the straight shooters. Bullseye comes down again, and that is a big miss. The straight shooters representative here, unfortunately not able to live up to his reputation. Too far to the left, and that gutter ball will leave the straight shooters on a score of just 15. The Brown Bears currently sitting on 6. They're going to need a better effort than that here from Yogi in the second frame. Down he comes, and not quite enough power in that shot. Missing the head pin and only managing to knock down 4 thanks to a rebound. But with the formation remaining, there is still a chance for Yogi here in the second roll. But that is not going to do it. Once again aiming a little too far to the right and only picks up 2. So the Brown Bears will be finishing in the lower half of the field today, and that could pose a problem for our competition leaders as Team Fantastic is currently in first place. Our next few teams only managed 5 in the first frame, so Meow has a lot of work to do here, and she certainly makes herself heard with that connection right there. Meow delivers a strong blow and manages to take down 7, and with the head pin still standing, Team Perfection has a good chance at picking up that spare. Meow comes down and oh, it's a narrow miss, but a miss nonetheless. Good pace from the Team Perfection representative, but not quite well directed. And Team Perfection will join the Brown Bears on a score of just 12. The D20s are also going to have to come from behind here. They'll need a spare or better to challenge for a podium spot. Questra has managed to take out quite a few pins here, but the remaining formation, as you can see there, looks a little awkward. It's going to be almost impossible to take out these remaining pins without some lucky rebounds. Let's see what Questra has in store for us. Well, he certainly managed to live up to his name. Somehow Questra has managed to thread the needle here and squeeze himself precisely between 2 pins. You can see what he was aiming for, but unfortunately it hasn't paid off. And once again, it's not going to be the D20's day here. The Psychedelics, the last of 3 teams to come into the second frame with a score of 5. A lot of pressure on Mary Jane right here. That's a solid connection, but aimed a little far to the right. And unfortunately, the right corner pin has remained standing as well. A spare is going to be difficult from here, even if Mary Jane can connect with the head pin. And a slight overcorrection here from the Psychedelics, perhaps getting a little unlucky with those rebounds. Once again, it appears that she bounced off the bottom of the ramp here, and that's only going to add 2 more to the Psychedelics total. So there's some consistency here for the Psychedelics, but unfortunately they will be in last place. Our final team today will be the Grim Reapers. The High Rollers and Team Fantastic are now guaranteed a medal, and the Grim Reapers will need a spare or better to challenge for a podium position. Shade comes down, and that's a powerful shot. 4 pins left standing, but a spare could be on the cards with a connection at the right angle. Can Shade earn his team another roll? The answer is very nearly. A solid effort from the Grim Reapers representative, and he does manage to pick up 3, but with the last pin remaining standing, The Grim Reapers will finish on 16 here, and that means Team Fantastic will be the first team to pick up a second gold medal in the Pro Dice Tour. The High Rollers will podium for the second week in a row, and once again we have a tie for the bronze medal. The Outer Space is there, also picking up 6 points. That may not seem like much, but that's more points than the team has earned in the previous 3 events combined. So Jumbo has got the job done here today for Team Fantastic, in what has been a low-scoring event. The Sweethearts and the Halloweenies find themselves in what must be a pretty familiar position by now. Those teams now have 3 bronze medals apiece. And as the Brown Bears falter, Team Fantastic have stampeded up the rankings to reclaim the top spot. The High Rollers move into 3rd outright, and it's still a tight race in the middle of the pack as we move into the remaining 4 events. But for now it is Jumbo's moment in the spotlight. Ali and the rest of Team Fantastic must feel good about their team's performance today. Thank you for joining us for Event 6, and be on the lookout for more Pro Dice Tour action heading your way soon. From all of us here at the Dice Sports Network, we bid you good night.